I have a question. Are you being you or are you being one of them? You're thinking, what? Are you being you or are you being one of them? And you're thinking, one of them, what's that? THEM. They have embraced mediocrity. That's what them stands for. And today I want to talk with you about that because there's a hidden mediocrity that people have in their life. They're not even aware of it. And I want to make you aware of that today because you can't be one of them. You can't be somebody that has embraced mediocrity. What you do is you burn mediocrity up and you focus on magnificence. Did you get that? You burn mediocrity up and you focus on magnificence with your business, with your family, with your life, with your working out, with your going to church, doing whatever it is. Everything needs that level of magnificence. You see, most people are simply a reflection of how they grew up. I think you would agree with that. Most people are simply a reflection of how they grew up. And how you grew up, you saw and observed for years how life is, and this is what it's supposed to be, and this is how it works. And because of that observation, and because of you watched your parents, you watched school, you watched all this other stuff, your observation equals this is life. It's 100% across the board. What you've been exposed to growing up determines what happens when you're grown up and how you think, how you believe, how you expect, and everything else, unless something gets your attention, an idea that absolutely smacks you upside the heart and says there's more, there's something better. But most people never get to that place. Most people, if not 100%, are a reflection of how they grew up, and they're conformed to the traditions, to the belief, to the thinking, to the cultures, to the everything that they grew up observing. What you observe the first 4 years of your life sticks with you for the rest of your life, even up until 6 or 7 years old. Why? Because what you observed is life. That's how that you define life. That's how you see life. That's how you feel about life because that's what you know. And you don't know anything else growing up. That's the difference between people that grew up in a middle class or maybe a little bit poor neighborhood and someone that grew up in a wealthy class. It's what you are exposed to that will determine what happens in the future. And this is the reason why if you're simply a reflection of how you grew up and conform to those traditions, those thought patterns, the behavior, everything else, is that working for you? Back in the late 80s, early 90s, I heard something called the 40-40-40 plan. And most people have never heard this. You work for 40 years, you make up to $45,000 a year, and then you retire on 40% of income that wasn't enough to begin with. Who sold us on that? Think about that. 40 years you work, make up to $40,000 to $50,000 a year, and you retire on 40% of your income that wasn't enough to begin with. Who in the world sold us on that plan? This is why I'm so on fire for this, because that plan needs another plan. It needs additional plan. That's just not going to be enough. Now, there's one exception. On the Millionaire Road radio show I used to do, I said there's two ways to build wealth. You can either have the slow boat to China or you can build it on a rocket ship. It's up to you. Slow boat to China is saving and saving and saving and investing. And after 30 or 40 years, you're ready to retire and you got enough money to retire on it. And it's worth probably around seven figures. Or you build a business in 3 to 5 years, 7 years, you become a millionaire. Rocket ship. 40-40-40 system is something that them, quote unquote, they have embraced mediocrity. That's what they think life is. That's the only thing they think life is. Is that what you think life is? I don't think so. Now, please don't get me wrong. The 40-40-40 plan, if somebody's happy where they work, they love their job and everything else, stay there, do that. But expand, increase, multiply what you're doing from something that's part-time, even if it's only 4, 5, 6 hours a week. I know somebody that started as a real estate agent. My aunt, part-time, maybe 8 hours a week. And this is back, in the 80s, 90s. And she literally built a 7-figure business because she started part-time, eventually went full-time because she had a job. Let me tell you who you are. The moment you realize who you are, that 40-40-40 plan won't look so good. Let me tell you who you are. You are a superstar looking for a place to shine and burn bright. Did you get that? You are a superstar looking for a place to burn and shine bright. That superstar energy is all over you. That you can feel it. That superstar energy is inside of you. Somebody just buried it. Somebody tried to put it out, the water carriers of the world. But there's a superstar inside of you, and it's looking for a place to catch fire, a business, a hope, something else, so that you can then start building that freedom, start building that dream that you wanted to build. And I don't care if it takes 10 years. You're going to be 10 years older anyway. Why not? Think about that. You're a superstar looking for a place to shine, looking for a place to start burning bright, pursuing your dreams, pursuing a passion, even an obsession. Think about that. There's a superstar inside of you waiting on you. Did you get what I just said? There's a superstar inside of you waiting on you to realize that. And when you do realize that, your whole world shifts, your whole world changes. Your whole world then becomes something that you never thought it could. Your future becomes something that you only once dreamed of when you realize there is that superstar in you. It's just waiting on you to realize it's there. See, we all limit how we see ourselves to fit the image that we learned early on. Did you get that? We all limit ourselves and see ourselves to fit the image that we learned early on. You know, my mom, and God rest her soul, but she told me, I remember in the kitchen that I was in college. And she said, Douglas, she says, what you need to do, and her exact words to me, you need to get in sales and you need to settle down, maybe get married, have children. Hey, Binky, my little girl. And you need to do this, you need to do that. But she said, and then you retire at the age of 65. And that's what life is. She says, you'll be good in sales. And I looked at mom, I said, so what you're saying is I'll make up to what, maybe $40,000, $50,000 a year? And she said, yeah, probably somewhere in that neighborhood. I said, why wouldn't I want to make that a month? And she just looked at me and she says, that's just not who we are. And I looked at her and smiled and said, who determined that? So I went to my dad and I said, Dad, is it possible to do that? And he says, of course it is. He said, go for your dreams. Don't worry about what anybody else says. Pursue it. And if you want to be creative, if you want to write songs, if you want to write books, if you want to do whatever you want to do it. Think about that. There's a superstar inside of you waiting on you, and I released mine. Do not limit yourself to fit the image of what people want you to be. What you need to do is determine the image you want to be, the self-image of who you would give anything to be, and then go after it. You were that person you always wanted to be. I want you to get this. You are that person you've always wanted to be. You already are. You just have not made the decision to become it. It takes a decision. You get that? You decide who you really are. Did you get what I just said? You decide who you really are, not somebody else that does not know the greatness that burns within you. And this is why are you being you or are you being one of them? They have embraced mediocrity. Understand something. You're that person that you've always wanted to be. That person is in there, that superstar. You just have to make the decision, draw a line in the sand, saying, I'm stepping over the line and I'm going after it. And that is all that you have to do. Of course, there may be some naysayers and everything else. Just smile and love them and say, I appreciate your input. But man, I tell you what, I'm so excited about my future. I wish you were as excited as you. I wish you were excited about your future as I am about mine. Wow. That is how you do it. Are you being you or are you being one of them? They have embraced mediocrity. Don't you dare. And by the way, like, subscribe, follow, share. And if you really want to build something really extraordinary, this is the place. Let's work some together because I want to help you build what you want and discover who you really are in this place right here. And I'm going to do this every day. And I would really love if you like follow chair, but more importantly, become part of the fire family. Because guys, I'm telling you what, we're going to build a family that's so on fire, people go, whoa. Why? Because I believe that God has ordained this, and I believe that He's going to bless this beyond anybody's wildest imagination. Like, share, follow, spread the fire.